Fuck Mooj. All right. I guess since I'm waiting for Billy anyway, I'm gonna say this once. I'm not gonna be talking about Mooj on the stream. This is not gonna be like a drama Mooj situation, but I will just say my piece, my perspective of everything that happened one time. We'll move on. Um, and me and Mooj, so we had talked about this on the stream. We kind of alluded to it, but when we had played before, he would ask me, he'd be like, "Oh, one day when it's all said and done, we gotta like talk about our first. I want to hear your first impression of me. Like we gotta talk about that first meeting we had." This was like a year ago, probably. It was like last summer, maybe early fall. And Erica, like I was just walking to my desk, and Erica like called me in her office. Was like, "Hey, there's a kid here says he's like the reason Call Her Daddy is exists. Can you talk to him and just let me know what you think?" Like, so I just kind of got pulled into a quick meeting with him. There's these little side rooms in Barstool. I went in with him. I sat down. I wasn't interviewing him. Like I didn't really care. I was just like, all right, I'll just see. I'll talk to this kid, see what the deal is. And we had one of the most ridiculous conversations. Like I think I sat down and I was like, hey man, like I never met this kid before. I was like, so what do you want to do at Barstool? Which is just a generic interview question. He went on a rant. Like in my head internally, I was like, this kid is either on coke or Adderall. Like he is just wired out of his mind, going nuts. Literally I was just sitting there like in shock. I didn't he talked for 30 minutes, and then at the end of the 30 minutes I was like, "So, what do you want to do at Barstool?" He basically was saying, he's been best friends with Alex. He writes all of the Call Her Daddy segments. He edits all the shows. Like from this conversation, you would have thought that like the only reason Call Her Daddy existed is from Mooj. That's kind of how he set it up, which I thought was a little bit. I was like, I never heard of this guy before. Something tells me that's like it's probably somewhere in between. But then he started talking about the video game stuff, and he was like, "Oh, I'm a 1% video game player in the world," like all this stuff, and I was like, "Why don't you play professionally then? If that's the case?" He was like, "Oh, well, because I'm a college athlete, and I like would have lost my eligibility." Which, and I've said this on stream too. Like I thought at the time, I didn't play video games. I hadn't played video games in years. I didn't really understand Twitch. I didn't think it was a thing. I didn't understand Fortnite. I don't care about Fortnite. So like to me at that time when he's like, "Oh, I'm a sick Fortnite player," and I was like, "Why don't you play professionally?" And he was like, "Oh, because of football." Like to me, that's just like was like a classic like, "Oh, like I would have went pro if I didn't hurt my ankle," or like I was like it's just an excuse. Like I understand now, like in hindsight, what he was saying made sense, but at the time I was like, this kid is just full of shit, basically. Um, and so then I like, I talked to Eric. I was like, if half of what he said is true, like he's obviously worth, a role here because Call Her Daddy's so big, and according to him, like he's the reason Call Her Daddy exists. Uh, but after that, so this was like August. I made a mental note. I was like, that kid's kind of crazy. There was no reason for me to be like talking to him, whatever. Like I was just like, that kid is kind of, he's tapped. Milf Hunter, whatever. Just let him keep his space. We kept our space. Would occasionally give each other, the head bob in the office, but that was it. And then whatever, 8 months later, quarantine happened. I got into Call of Duty. I think I tweeted out like, who is the best Call of Duty player at Barstool? Got a bunch of tweets from random people being like, "Oh, you got to talk to Mooj," and then I got people from behind the scenes like Logan or Devlin or Smitty. I forget. It might have been all of them. They're like, "Oh, Mooj is really good. Like you got to play with him." So I took their word for it. I was like, whatever. Like I obviously had a bad first impression, but if these guys are vouching for him, like I'll listen. And so when I played Call of Duty with him, Mooj was extremely, extremely, extremely helpful. It was like Tale of Two Tapes. I was no idea what I was doing. He was extremely helpful, extremely patient. I was asking him questions that like sounded like I was a 12-year-old. So I was like, oh, like fucking, what's a M4? Like what's a growl? Like every question he was helpful with, every question he like was good with. He obviously has a lot of good connections within the Call of Duty community, but then he just went back to his old ways. Like the way he went out, the way he quit was just to me was crazy. Um, Given all the things that he said online, given the fact that like he was there in the office on Sunday, he didn't seem like I was with him on Sunday when all this was breaking. He was talking to Big Head, he was talking him through. Like I just thought it was a little. I thought his note, and I was also like on Saturday or whatever Friday when it came out, like I was absolutely shit faced. So I was like the Mr. Krabs meme in real life. When I got the news, I was just like, sat down and was like, wait, what the fuck? Had all these text messages. Was like, oh shit. Um, but I just think it sucks. Like it. I like Mooj. I liked him when we played Call of Duty. He had a bad first impression for me, but I came around on him. It sucks that the way he went out, he basically dragged Barstool through the mud because I'm obviously Barstool through and through. And it's like if you're gonna make basically just made everyone else look bad. There's people writing articles that are like saying Barstool is now racist because Mooch quit, when in reality, like he had tweets that are worse than anything Dave's ever said. He has like super misogynistic tweets, racist tweets. So for him to then come back and have this moral high ground of like, how can I quit? How can I work at a company that doesn't align with my values when you have said things that are worse than what Dave has said? That is fucked up to me, and I think he has to answer for that. Like, but that's on Mooj. Like, it's not me to judge whether what he did was right or wrong. But if he's gonna go out in the public eye and quit, then he has to go in the public eye. Like, you can't. It doesn't work both ways. It can't be like, oh, I'm gonna take this high ground on Twitter, but then when the fucking low stuff comes, you have to answer that too. So I think it's kind of bullshit that he's just like, kind of just threw that grenade. It's kind of like he went in like a 1v4 fight, which is something he would do anyway. He would just go running, like, you'd see a team of four, he would get these crazy visions of killing all four of them in his head, and then he would get blapped up. But it's like it just seems like he didn't think it through, and I think it's kind of bullshit that he quit, threw his resume together, and then if you were in his chat and asked him about Call Her Daddy, like, we'd be played with Next Home with 2 weeks ago, and he was like, oh, what do you do for Barstool? And he skirts around saying Call Her Daddy. He doesn't want to say anything about the MILF Hunter, and then in his quitting / resume, mentions Call Her Daddy. It's like you can't have it both ways. It just seemed like he wanted to kind of have everything his way. He didn't mention the fact that the only reason his followers grew was because Big Cat, like, Big Cat is the reason I have followers. Big Cat's the reason many people have followers. Like, we're all nobodies, and then Big Cat starts retweeting you and interacting with you, and like your following grows. That's exactly what happened with Mooch. He had like 1,000 followers. He joined Doug's coaching staff, and his followers blew up. So for them to be like, oh, my social was growing the most, like, it's like that was because of Big Cat. So like to not say thank you or anything about Big Cat, just to just trash the company in your resignation, that I thought was fucked up. The jersey thing was laugh out loud funny, because I'm pretty sure if I bought 10 jerseys right now, I would be the highest selling jersey. So that's just kind of that's really all I'm gonna say about it. That's just kind of like my assessment of the situation. I wish him the best. I texted him. I was like, good luck with everything. Thanks for the help with Call of Duty. And to me, you got to try and play everything out. Like, look at it positively. Just means there's an extra spot in the hooligans. And there's room to grow. It's like if these people are gonna be like, oh, this is the only reason like athletes play with Barstool, like, we will show you that athletes will play with Barstool. Like, if that's what the card you want to play, like, we'll show you that's wrong. And it is what it is. Yeah, the newest person will always be the fastest growing guy. He went from 2,000 to 10,000. It's like, good. It is what it is. But yeah, we're out here now, and I mean that's really gonna last. I'm gonna talk about it. Like, I'm not gonna be like gossiping. I am curious to see what he says from all this fallout, but I think it was in bad form to preface. I had no problem with like why he quit. I think what Dave said was wrong. I remember when all that stuff happened with the Ja Rule thing, being in the office, telling him not to do it, he still did it. It was one of the dumbest things Dave's ever done. So like, it was dumb, ignorant, stupid. He apologized for it. I think all this considered is going to show that Barstool can adapt, they can grow. Like, we're not just going to like quit because the cancel mob is coming for Barstool. Like, we're going to adapt. We're going to show that we're not like what the people on the internet are saying, and we're going to be better from this, all things considered. Like, once this is all said and done, Mooj is no longer with us. It is what it is. You call people pathetic if they say to Barstool. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I have no problem with Mooj, but the way he was like coming off on social media, and I don't know. I that's the other thing. I need to hear what he has to say from the fallout, because to just tweet that and then just go running, he's still liking stuff on Twitter. It's like, dude, you gotta like come forward and fucking address the elephant in the room that you have tweets that are worse than what Dave said. Way worse. So like, where is his moral high ground that you're standing on? So yeah, that's it. I don't know where Billy is. I have no one to play with. Now I gotta find a fourth hooligan. Change bars from the inside. That's why you're sticking around. I mean, that's I don't. Something happened. Something happened. He was in the office on Sunday when all this shit was breaking. Like we were with Big Hat. We were talking about everything, and I don't know. I don't. I don't. I don't really know what happened. Colby is really good. Colby fucking. I don't know. I don't know Colby. Definitely have a solo one in you. All right, I'll do solo. You can play a different game. Right now, only thing I have is UFC. Also, I think because that hooligans tournament, I came in last, but since all the hooligans aren't here anymore, like I don't know that it's really valid. Himicane, I'll play with you. I'll play with you. You play with Smitty Himicane, right? You can get. Can you get in the Barstool Discord? Everyone buy Honk's jersey. Yeah, please buy 7 of my jerseys, and I can say I was the #1 selling jersey. Like I said, I was very drunk. I think I played like 5 games of Beer Die in a row. And I sat down on my phone, and I literally was like the Mr. Krabs meme in real life. And when I read his statement and read the t-shirt sales thing, like before I could even reread it, I was like in tears laughing. Like that was one of the most preposterous statements I think in the history of Barstool. Like there are shirts like Ken Bone when he went viral at the Democratic Convention probably sold 100 more T-shirts than all of the hooligans combined. Like all of Coach Doug's, like Coach Doug's at Toledo, Coach Doug's at Tennessee, Coach Doug's at Texas A&M, all sold more shirts than the hooligans. Like I don't, I don't know the numbers for sure. I just know from working here for so long, we did not sell a lot of jerseys, and that's all right. We're an upstart organization. We're grinding. Anyone that did buy a jersey, I appreciate you. You're here from the beginning, but to go online and be like, I had sold the #1 jerseys on the company. It's like I would guess the number is literally like 12. Um, Himicane, add me. Seth Rogen wants to play with me. Did you get a perm? No, I just didn't shower yet. Sign Dom. We are gonna play with Dom this week. I was talking to him yesterday. We will play with Dom. We will play. I mean, that's the thing. Like yes, Mooch had good connections, but like enable even JCap. Like JCap was someone that got set up. I set up through just emails. And then when I was going to play with him, Mooch hit me up. I was like, oh, I actually know this kid. Like I'm gonna play with you guys. So it's like, yes, he did have those connections, but also we were making the connections on our own. Like where he was streaming for 200 people. He had 10,000 followers. Like that's not nothing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not irreplaceable, as some would say.